Welcome to this explainer. I am so thrilled you're tuning in today because we are looking at an absolute legend in the making. You know, when we talk about the pantheon of dive watch heritage, the Japanese brand Seiko absolutely demands a seat at the table right alongside their Swiss peers. Sure, they might have entered the game a bit later, but with their historical lineup, they have earned unmatched credibility. But today, we aren't just looking back at history. We are diving into what is arguably the most complete, compelling modern dive watch you can get your hands on right now for under $1,000. I'm talking about the Seiko SPB317.
And that brings us to a genuinely serious question. Can you actually still find a complete Seiko diver for under $1,000? The dive watch market is incredibly crowded today, and it feels like prices everywhere are just creeping up. If you've been following horology for a minute, you've probably noticed this strange, almost hidden pocket of value forming right in the middle of Seiko's lineup. Finding a watch that pairs true heritage, professional-grade specs, and a highly wearable footprint without crossing into four-digit territory has become kind of like a treasure hunt. But the SPB317, it resides exactly in that sweet spot.
To give you a sense of what I mean by that strange pocket, just look at the massive price gap in their current lineup. On one end, you've got Seiko's entry-level Prospex models sitting in that $400 to $650 range. They're great watches for sure, but they're inherently entry-level. On the other end, the second you take that next major step up into their 6R family of movements, like the 1965-62 Moss Heritage refreshes, you're jumping right past the $1,000 mark to $1,300 and beyond. The SPB317 sits squarely in the middle. It isolates this rare, incredibly compelling middle ground that just totally maximizes your dollar.
Section 1. A Diver's Legacy Reborn.
Let's trace this lineage real quick. Seiko's dive watch story kicked off back in 1965 with the legendary 62 MAS, which was the very first dive watch out of Japan. But then we get to the late 1960s, and boom, the reference 6105-8000 drops. Now, while the 62 MAS gets a ton of the glory, the 6105-8000 is arguably way more influential when it comes to Seiko's specific design language. It basically bridged the gap between their earliest divers and the bulky, iconic cushion cases that came later. Crucially, it pioneered that signature case silhouette and that awesome tucked-away 4 o'clock crown position. Fast forward to 2022, and the SPB317 was released as the direct, modern iteration of that pivotal 6105 series.
Now you know the internet watch community. They've already given this thing a couple of great nicknames. You'll hear it called the Slim Willard or the Slim Turtle. It's a perfect moniker because it totally conveys the vibe. It really is a slimmed-down version of those iconic cushion cases. But actually, scratch that. Historically speaking, since the original 1605 predates both the original Willard and the Turtle lines, it's really the father of them both. And here it is, presented in a remarkably wearable, streamlined profile.
Section 2. Proportions and ultimate durability.
Okay, let's dive right into the specs because this is where it gets really good. We have a 41mm case diameter, which sounds pretty standard, right? But here is the crucial point. The thickness locks in at a very reasonable 12.3mm, and the lug-to-lug length is an incredibly compact 46.5mm. Add in a strap-swapping friendly 20mm lug width and a fully ISO 6425 compliant 200 meters of water resistance. So what does this all mean for you? It means that despite saying 41mm on paper, this watch wears wonderfully small. It comfortably wears like a 39mm equivalent, making it totally small wrist friendly while still maintaining a serious professional demeanor.
2 to 3 times. Let that sink in. That is exactly how much more scratch-resistant Seiko's super hard coating is compared to your standard untreated stainless steel. This coating is applied directly to the case of the SPB317, which transforms it into a rugged, highly durable tool watch that can absolutely take a beating and still look fantastic at the end of the day.
But hey, durability doesn't have to mean sacrificing charm, right? The tool watch aesthetic is nailed perfectly here. You get this gently curved sapphire crystal with an anti-reflective coating on the underside. You have drilled lugs, which makes for incredibly easy strap changes. It sticks to the classic Seiko diver script with a solid caseback featuring that iconic embossed tsunami wave. And honestly, my favorite detail? The aluminum dive bezel insert. Sure, it's not a shiny modern ceramic, but that is exactly the point. It offers the distinct possibility of naturally fading with age, leaning heavily into that retro, purposeful vintage look. To top the whole thing off, Seiko burrs this with a thick, rail-patterned black silicone rubber strap that is a massive step up in quality.
Section 3. Dial, Loom, and Mechanics.
Setting the stage on the dial, we have a mission-specific matte black that can almost look charcoal under different lighting. There is absolutely no flashy sunray gloss here. The hands feature a beautiful mixed finish, brushed on one side, polished on the other, with a vintage wink via a stoplight red tip on the second hand. But the real star of the show happens when the lights go out. We're talking about Seiko Lumibright. Seiko actually updated the Swiss Superluminova formula by adding europium and dysprosium. Science jargon aside, what that means is the applied into-season hands absorb light much faster and glow significantly longer after activation. It is, without a doubt, some of the best lume in the entire watch industry.
Okay, I just have to share this quote from our source material regarding the date window, because it hit the nail on the head. Date window inclusion in watch collecting is the equivalent of talking politics at a family function. Nobody can ever agree. Now, the vintage original didn't have a date, but the SPB317 tucks one away super discreetly at the 430 position. But here is why it totally works. It's a diminutive circular window that is meticulously color-matched to the black dial. It's executed so well that it will likely win over critics on both sides of the date window aisle.
Under the hood, powering this whole setup is the 6R35 automatic movement, which is a very serious mechanical upgrade. It boasts a massive 70 hours of power reserve. It runs at a reliable 3 Hz or 21,600 vibrations per hour, features 24 joules, and yes, it offers hacking and hand winding. Crucially, it provides a magnetic resistance of 4,800 amperes per meter, that's 60 Gauss, keeping it fully compliant with ISO magnetic standards. This isn't just a basic entry-level engine. It is a robust, highly capable movement designed for the long haul.
Now, precision junkies, listen up. If there's one thing collectors love to point out, it's Seiko's official accuracy rating, which is noted at -15 to +25 seconds per day. But here is the critical takeaway. Those numbers are notoriously conservative. In real-world time grapher testing across 5 different positions, this specific caliber commonly runs well within 5 to 8 seconds a day. And let's not forget, Seiko is one of watchmaking's most vertically integrated manufacturers. So yes, you are getting a true, reliable, entirely in-house movement at this incredible price point.
Section 4. A fleeting value proposition.
Listen closely, because this is a massive wake-up call for collectors. The standard Willards and the incredibly popular, best-selling SPB143, they have officially been discontinued. Seiko is currently in the process of phasing out many of their best-selling watches that utilize this 6R35 movement. Sister models are literally being ushered to the exits right now. And that leaves the SPB317 highly vulnerable. We genuinely do not know how long this specific model will continue to exist in its current highly affordable form. So let's bring it all together and summarize exactly what is on the table here. You are getting unimpeachable heritage aesthetics directly linked to one of Seiko's most influential dive watches. You are getting a remarkably wearable, slimmed-down case that fits beautifully on wrists of all sizes. You are securing massive specification upgrades, from a 70-hour power reserve to a super-hard scratch-resistant coating. And, incredibly, you are getting the whole shebang with a price tag that does not include a comma, well under that $1,000 mark. It is absolutely the sweet spot for maximizing your dollar in the modern dive watch market.
Which leaves us with one final burning question. Is the SPB317 the ultimate modern Seiko diver to grab before it completely vanishes? When you factor in the wearability, the upgraded specs, the undeniable historical pedigree, and this rare pocket of value that is rapidly closing, well, it just might be. It's daring, it's for the purists, and it is a truly compelling package. So the question is yours to answer. Will you capture this piece of horological history while it's still hiding in plain sight? Thank you so much for diving into this explainer with me today. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.